record is 64-67. And they are 13 games out. Chicago 10.5 games back of St. Louis. And the Cardinals at 78-55. And here at home, the Cardinals have played terrific baseball. They are now 17 games above the 500 mark at 42-25. So the Cardinals waiting to take the field. And they'll take the field behind big number 29. And that's the co-ace along with Adam Wainwright, Chris Carpenter of the St. Louis Cardinals, as he had a no-hitter through 6 innings last time that he saw Milwaukee. This is the lineup that he'll face tonight. Felipe Lopez at second base. Frank Catalanato, good numbers against Carpenter's career, in his career. He's the right fielder. Brian Braun is in left. Prince Fielder at first base. Casey McGee, 4 RBIs last night. He's at third. Mike Cameron, your center fielder. Jason Kendall at catcher. J.J. Hardy, the shortstop. And Dave Bush, the pitcher, and he's batting ninth. Chris Carpenter is our Marshall Wireless starter. This will be his 23rd start. He has a couple of complete games, 14-3 that record. And how about the ERA, 2.20?
Not the best in the major leagues. He's won 9 straight ball games on quite a roll. Really doesn't matter what this guy does. He's just such a perfectionist and professional. And usually when he takes the mound, it's a win.
Mention his record isn't great overall against Milwaukee, but this year, back on May 25th at Miller Park, he was on his game. 8 innings, 2 hits, and he struck out 10 that afternoon in 94 pitches for Carpenter. It was Craig Counsell, the first batter in the 7th inning. He broke up that no-hitter, and a Mike Cameron single in the 8th, the only other hit that Carpenter allowed on that afternoon. He's done that to a bunch of teams, though, in his career, and he's been spectacular again here in 2009. Matt Holliday, hero last night in left field. Mark DeRosa back in the starting lineup this evening for the Cardinals. And the battery tonight, Chris Carpenter and Yadier Molina. Cardinals defense presented by Auto Tire. Game number 134 will be close to 40,000 yet again tonight and again tomorrow afternoon. And a gorgeous night here in St. Louis. Temperatures ideal here on the 2nd of September. And this will be our Domino's first pitch of the game. Carpenter to Lopez, and it's a strike. There's so many things you look at with Chris Carpenter this year and why he's been successful. Number one, he's been healthy, which has been obviously a key for him this year. And in his career, he needs to stay healthy, which at times he's not been able to do.
Well, he did have the one little stint on the disabled list with the abdominal strain. But other than that, you know, he keeps the ball in the ballpark and he doesn't walk many.
Another breaking ball, that time in the dirt. We talked about our 5 keys in 55 seconds, and one of those was the possibility that Ryan Franklin at the back end of this game tonight may not be able to close it out. Well, I asked Tony about it. Tony said, well, we're going to wait until Ryan throws and see how he feels. And then I talked to Ryan Franklin after the Cardinals came off the field, and he says he's ready to go. So it'll be decision time possibly for Tony La Russa coming up, and let's hope about 2 hours.
Well, I'd like that Carpenter goes real deep in this ball game and maybe hopefully even completes it. But there you see the outstanding breaking ball, bottom just falling right out of that. That's a 300+ hitter. He made go fishing at a pitch he couldn't hit.
Here's Catalanato, and he's in right field tonight, hitting .283, 1 home run and 8 RBIs.
He's in the lineup because of his numbers against Carpenter, but talk about Carpenter and the sub 500 record. Pitched brilliantly, got a no decision this year. Previously, it had been 06 the last time he faced Milwaukee.
And that's a base hit into right center field over to get it Rasmus on a pitch that was up. And it brings in Ryan Braun. So 1-out single for Frank Catalanato. Game was interesting late last night, but Franklin picked up the save, is nationally leading 36th. He's now 36 of 38.
And he's tied Tom Henke for the best save conversion percentage all time for the Cardinals. But you know, going back to that, I think that you, with the lead, and the Cubs won today, so they have a 10-game lead over the Cubs. I think you really kind of find out, do you have somebody reliable? You know, they're still looking for the 8th inning guy. And the one thing I think is you have to make sure that Ryan Franklin doesn't wear down in the month of September.
A lot more innings the last couple of years for Franklin, and we talked about the efficiency that he's had in ninth innings, but last night was not one of them. Gave up a couple of runs, and that's a rarity for him. And Braun hits it in the air out to center field. Cardinals have really kept him in check this year. And back to first, Catalanato, and it brings in Prince Fielder. Now, Fielder and Milwaukee had the Cardinals record. They might be talking about Prince being a potential MVP of the National League. I talked with a national writer before the game tonight, and he said in his mind it's going to be hands down, clear cut, not even an argument that Albert Pujols would win it. And I said, what about Ryan Howard? He said Ryan Howard has been a little bit too up and down. He said he'll wind up with great numbers, but Pujols from day one has been, in his mind, the best player in the National League and the MVP.
Remember how silly his numbers were. The first half, or before the reserves came on the roster, and he had so little protection behind him. And Albert was just leading in all categories. Everybody was thinking about the Triple Crown at that point.
Hanley Ramirez, by the way, with a sore hamstring. They're not sure how serious that may be. And he's been hitting just around 360 for the better part of the last couple of months for Florida.
And Albert, what, at 320?
Pujols at the start of play at an even 320 with the 42 home runs and 111 RBIs.
111 RBIs is now third, one behind second place Ryan Howard, and trailing Prince Fielder is 119.
The 2-0 pitch to Fielder. Remember, Carpenter kind of struggled in his last start. He wasn't overly sharp. I thought the strike zone was a little tight, but I wonder if he's just fighting his mechanics a little bit here in the first. Let's take a look.
Kind of standing a little bit erect, not using his lower half at all.
And that's a strike. To Fielder. 3 balls and 1 strike with 2 outs and runner at first.
I think guys like Carpenter that always give you that 7+ innings. They go out there and the first inning is a feeling out process because they're kind of going deep into a ball game. They don't want to wear themselves out in the bullpen or early in the game.
And that's up and away. And Carpenter takes off the hat. You don't see him do this very often. Remember, he walked 8th and 9th place hitters a couple of starts ago, and he doesn't walk many. There's no doubt about that. He's been one of the best in baseball in that regard. I believe that's only his 26th that he's allowed this year.
26 walks. He's only allowed 7 home runs. He's got currently a 9-game winning streak.
And how about the Cardinals, what they've done in all his starts here in the second half? They've been perfect.
You got that pretty good combination when you talk about a duo with Ian Wainwright.
There's a shot into left center. Colby coming on, and he won't get it. It drops in for a base hit. Catalanato will score the first run of this game, 1-0 Milwaukee. Remember, they jumped out to a 3-0 lead last night thanks to McGee with a 3-run homer in the first, and tonight he delivers with a 2-out single. RBI number 45, and 5 RBIs so far this series for Casey McGee.
And just didn't get that ball out away from him. Nice pickup here. A little bit of a gamble, but Catalanato read it perfectly. He was running all the way. Would have been doubled up if that ball would have carried to Colby's glove, but it wasn't to be the case.
And it brings in the center fielder Mike Cameron. 19 homers, 56 RBIs.
Yeah, breaking ball up a little bit. Just going to take Carpenter a little time to dial it in, but that's the difference with this team now, because they have the firepower that if you get behind, a pitcher doesn't feel like he has to be perfect. Get behind, you can kind of relax a little bit and know your team will keep you in the ball game.
Carpenter, the start of play tonight, leads the National League in ERA at 2.20, and the last Cardinal to lead the league in ERA was back in 1988. Joe McGrain, the lefty, 2.18 that season.
But a little difference because McGrain had a losing record where Carpenter's 14-3.
And the Cardinals fall behind 1-0, but with the way things have gone, the way that they've been coming back in ball games when trailing like last night, you don't really worry about it. Brendan Ryan to the second baseman tonight, Skip Schumacher. Cardinals coming up in their half of the first, down by a run. Only 16 starts this year, rather 15 in 16 games he's been in. And he and Jeff Suppan dealing with injuries this year. And that starting staff in Milwaukee, it's been a sore spot this year for the Brewers.
Well, he missed about 2 months with a micro tear in his right tricep muscle.
And he's greeted in this ball game with a base hit by Skip.
And this is only his second start since coming off the DL.
And a look at Milwaukee's defense with Ryan Braun in left, Mike Cameron in center, Catalanato in right. McGee, Hardy, Lopez, and Fielder along the infield. And the battery tonight, Dave Bush and Jason Kendall. Brewers defense presented by Auto Tire.
And Bush's first start coming off the DL last week against Cincinnati, he had a no-no for the going into the third inning, and then the pitcher spot was up. He walked him after 9 pitches, and then that was the first of 6 consecutive batters to reach and knocked him out of the game.
Colby's had a nice homestand. He's 8 for 25, 320 average. Up there, hacking and fouls it back.
Well, he has to be considered one of the candidates for Rookie of the Year, but Mr. McGee is starting to make some noise there also.
No doubt. Dave Bush, a couple of years with Toronto, 4 with Milwaukee, and of course Carpenter, the Cardinals starter, 7 with Toronto, and now in his 7th with St. Louis. Dave Bush was 10 and 15 this time north of the border. So Colby Rasmus and Casey McGee are keys to the game, the rookies, and what they've done the last 3 games and again this season. McGee with 5 RBIs already in this series. The third baseman, and a nice find for Milwaukee. As you talked about last night, he was with Chicago. They've got some young players that they're very, very high on, and there was some talk that maybe they would want to move J.J. Hardy to third base, but that has been ruled out. Apparently J.J. and the club not on the same page with that, and said nope, we're not going to do that. And it looks like J.J. may be on his way out of Milwaukee. Who knows? We'll see this offseason. And a swing and a miss on a breaking ball by Colby Rasmus.
He's got a pretty good cut fastball. They'll bring in on the right-handers, or excuse me, the left-handers, and away to the right-handed bats, and he kind of likes that breaking ball. Doesn't throw a lot of changeups.
Mentioned before how Albert Pujols is in unbelievable company. Joe DiMaggio, they are tied on the home run list. 69th all-time in baseball history, 361. Up next, Ralph Kiner at 369 for Pujols. Now, the most he has ever hit was back in 06. He had 49 that season. He's never had a 50 home run season. And against this starter, Dave Bush, he's 2 for 11 with no home runs. Short lead at first by Schumacher, and here comes a 1-0 pitch. As Pujols homered here last night for the 42nd time. Two balls, no strikes ahead in the count. The doubles are racking up. The home runs are racking up. And maybe the MVP trophies as well. Already with 2 under his belt. A 2-0 pitch. And Pujols rips it into left field. Braun over to get it. Schumacher stops at second base. Runners at first and second. With just one out for Matt Holliday. And here come the Cardinals trailing in this ball game 1-0, but here they come again.
It's a little cutter, but it didn't really do too much, as it just hits hard and finds the left field hole. Set up for Holliday.
Batting practice earlier today. It wasn't Big Mac land like last night, but he did keep one up there. Just to the left of Big Mac land off the bat of Matt Holliday earlier tonight.
Yesterday he knocked out the A in Big Mac.
And then swing and a miss.
So he may be taking target practice. That would have got another letter, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I asked Matt before the game tonight, I said, are you seeing more fastballs back in the National League? And he said, not at all. He said, you know, some people do believe that there'll be more off-speed pitches and curveballs in the American League, more junk, if you will. And he said that wasn't the case in his brief experience with Oakland. He just might be better suited for the National League. Let's hope so, and let's hope he feels better suited right here in St. Louis.
At one time, I think that was very accurate. The American League was more of a
and that's why I asked him.
Speed league, and here was more the challenge hitters. It was American League, you know, it was more acceptable to walk someone rather than to challenge them and make them earn their way on. But that was a long time ago.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Holliday, a swing and a miss. And Bush gets his second strikeout. I would assume for Matt Holliday, there's got to be a comfort level being back in the Midwest, back in the National League.
Yeah, I think so. And then the best part about it is you come to a ball club that's had a chance to go into postseason play, and they have just taken off since he's gotten here with the best record in baseball. And so that's the fun aspect. It never gets tired of shaking hands late in the game.
And he also was saying that if people were paying very close attention about a week or 10 days prior to the trade, his swing was starting to come around. Here's Rick Ankiel. He gets the start tonight in right field. Ankiel is hitting .229 in the season with 10 home runs and 35 RBIs. And against Bush, does have a home run. He's 4 for 10. So 2 outs and 2 on. The pitch is taken low and in. 2 balls and no strikes. I'll mention that the Cubs beat Houston today. 2-0 was the final there. The Giants in another key game with the Phillies leading in the bottom of the 5th, 1-0. Atlanta tied up with the Marlins 2-2. That's in the bottom of the 4th. Rockies will get underway in about a half hour or so. 2-0 pitch. 3-0. On deck, Mark DeRosa. Good to see DeRosa back with that sore wrist.
Yeah, and there was even some talk about giving him a cortisone shot, but being an armchair quarterback, or looking back, it would have been perfect. They would have given it to him on Sunday morning.
Here's a 3-0. They turn him loose. I thought they might.
As he didn't play on Sunday, the off day on Monday, and then didn't play yesterday, there would have been his 72 hours.
Big gap into left center, and you see Mike Cameron very deep in right center, the center fielder. 3 balls and a strike on Rick Ankiel. Here it comes on the inside corner, 3-2. He spins away. He didn't like that call. Our home plate umpire tonight, Mike Mulchinski. CB Buckner over at first, Mike Everett at second, and Jerry Davis at third. He's the crew chief.
It's the first time we've heard this umpire. It tails back a little bit to the corner, but Rick thought it was inside.
Saw Bruce Fremming here last night.
And I saw him again tonight.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. Runners go. Popped up, and that'll find the seats.
There's a good example of a hitter eyes lighting up on a hanging breaking ball and got underneath it a little bit, as it was a little slower. And best thing about that is it he got it out of play and gets new life.
Bush has struck out 2 and given up 2 hits here in this first inning. Runners off with this pitch again with a 3-2 count. There they go. And that's a walk to Rick Ankiel. I'm sure Bush is saying that was a strike a couple of pitches ago. If you're traveling and can't catch the Cardinals TV broadcast, catch all the action on your computer at MLB.tv. Catch over 100 live out-of-market games per week. For complete details, visit STLCardinals.com. That's where baseball is always on. 2 strikeouts, 2 hits, and now a walk to Rick Ankiel. And Mark DeRosa in his career with 5 grand slams. Schumacher a base hit. Pujols his base hit to left. Walk to Rick Ankiel. They're loaded up here in the bottom of the first.
DeRosa has 18 at bats, 5 hits, including a home run against Bush.
And that pitch taken for a strike, and there is a gap in the left center here for Mark DeRosa. Prior to last night, the Brewers bullpen had a streak of 12 scoreless innings. They had pitched quite well, but Cardinals were able to get to them midway through the game. How long will Bush last in this ball game? DeRosa falls behind, 0-2. Yadier Molina on deck if DeRosa can extend the inning, and Bush is trying to strike out the side here in the first.
21 pitches so far in the first.
And you read my mind. That's why I bring up the bullpen.
Yes.
0-2 pitch. DeRosa, little floater into center field. Cameron coming on, and he'll make the catch on the run. And the Cardinals strand the bases loaded. Bush out of an early jam. 1-0 Milwaukee. Midwest announcers and other Cardinal fans via our Cardinals Live blog. Find it on our webpage at foxsports.com/Midwest. DeRosa flies out to shallow center to end that threat for the Cardinals, and I know he was hoping that he would be in the lineup last night. Tony DeRosa thought it'd be a good time to give DeRosa a little time off, as he was 2 for 20 with 7 strikeouts against Braden Looper. And Mark, of course, got out to a really hot start. The power numbers. That's fouled by Jason Kendall. He had 8 home runs in his first 22 games. But he hasn't homered since August 7th. Played very good defense over at third base. But he does certainly deepen this Cardinal lineup. There's no doubt about that. Ooh, nasty breaking ball there from Chris Carpenter, and Kendall is the second strikeout victim for Carp.
See how that breaking ball sharpens up. He has better command of it. See that rotation.
It's the Exmo Cam presented by Hot Shots Sports Bar and Grill, 1 block south of the ballpark on Broadway. That pitch is hit out of play by the 8th place hitter, J.J. Hardy. Hardy at 229, back in the major leagues. Carpenter now with 117 strikeouts on the year, but nowhere close to the league leader. And that's Tim Lincecum at 222. And you know, you talk to a lot of folks on the national level, and they believe that Lincecum right now is the front runner for the Cy Young Award.
And that's one of the reasons why. That's a glory stat. You know, he eats a lot of innings, but all the strikeouts, and really doesn't seem like he'll. Even Wainwright's in the top five there, but probably won't catch up to him.
Wainwright with 16 wins, and that's a base hit into right. You have to wonder about Wainwright and Carpenter when they're making their case. Once it's all said and done in early October, the regular season, you know, Tim Lincecum is going to be pitching in games of huge importance. The Cardinals have this huge lead, and so that does take away from it just a little bit.
Yeah, and you know, you could win it by winning those big games to put your team in it. Well,
exactly.
The Cardinals, like you say, have the comfortable lead.
That pitch taken a little bit low by Dave Bush, the pitcher, hitting 130 this year. No home runs, no RBIs. 2-month stay on the DL for Dave Bush. Right-handers 3-5, ERA close to 6. It was Mark DeFelice in his last start that gave up the runs, and not so much Bush against the Cincinnati Reds, and his sacrifice is good, 5-4. So another runner in scoring position for Milwaukee, and it brings in Felipe Lopez. Lopez, first time up, struck out. He's now 0 for 6 against Chris Carpenter this year. Carpenter with 2 strikeouts tonight. He's walked a man and given up 3 base hits. Cardinals will have Molina, Ryan, and Carpenter coming up in the bottom of the second. So 2 outs, runner at second base for Felipe. That pitch is taken low.
You see her looking right there at Sutton Edmonds. There's Allison, and you can't see the little guy.
Landed foul.
But Landon is behind the redhead, but there's Jim Edmonds' wife. He's in California, but Allison's visiting her parents here, and then that's lovely Sutton, who's, I want to say she's 6 months.
1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs and runner at second base. Milwaukee is now 3 games below 500 at 64 and 67. The Cardinals at 78 and 55 this year. Good breaking ball again, and therefore strike. And it's now 1-2. Last time out, Carpenter left with a 3-2 lead after 6. Cardinals bullpen gave it up in the 8th. He is on an extra day's rest here, and Pujols is over to make the play on a fair ball. Carpenter covering at first. And we head to the bottom of the 2nd. Molina, Ryan, and Carp coming up. 1-0 Brewers. C.B. Buckner with some hustle there to end the top of the 2nd.
Well, see, even umpires should hustle. He's got to make sure this ball gets a good look at it, see if it's fair, and then now he's got to hustle into position so he can make the call at first base. See if Lopez beats Carpenter the bag, which he did not.
Dave Bush back to work against Yadier Molina. 1-0 Milwaukee on Casey McGee's RBI. A single with 2 outs in the first inning and his 45th RBI. 1-0 Brewers. First pitch to Yadi is taken for a strike on the outside corner. Dave Bush is a former catcher that then was moved to the mound with a scholarship to Wake Forest, but blossomed as a quality relief pitcher. In 2001 he had 15 saves. There's a base hit into right. Was 5th most at that time in NCAA history. Never wanted to be on the field and in the dugout before a Cardinals game. You can bid today to participate in the pregame VIP on-field experience before the Cardinals-Braves game on Friday, September 11th. Bid today on this exclusive experience at STLCardinals.com. Went to the Cape Cod League, did Dave Bush, and became one of the top closers in the college game. Initially he was drafted by the Devil Rays in the 4th round, but did not sign, and wound up going to Toronto, and now here with the Milwaukee Brewers. Troy Percival was a former catcher in college.
Yep.
Found his way on the mound.
Jason Mott, was still catching up until 2006. And then they converted him to pitching.
And Bush was part of the Lyle Overbay deal. Gabe Gross was part of that deal back in 2005. Good pick there by Kendall. Brewers GM Doug Melvin compared him to Rick Helling, 20-game winner for Texas. So he doesn't have that 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but this is a guy that competes, and that's one of the reasons he's made it, they feel, the conversion from catcher to pitcher all the way to the major leagues. Maybe wondering how he got that triceps injury. That was a line drive by Hanley Ramirez back on June 4th in his start at Florida. Don't see that very often, where his back foot is actually at least partially on top of the rubber. Usually just bumping up against it, and he'll push off that rubber.
amazing, Dan, where when I was pitching, there was usually a pretty pronounced hole in front of the rubber. As they manicure the fields a lot better these days, and now you can see how firm, no hole there, but you just get enough to where you can push off that rubber.
You can also see the right shoe, the front of it, that little
pitching toe.
Yep, pitching toe, to make sure his shoe doesn't get too worn down. Fought off here by Brendan Ryan. Little floater into center that drops for a base hit. Got in his kitchen, but still strong enough to fight it off and picks up the base hit.
Brendan McGee is 2 years old today. So happy birthday, Brendan. And Brendan Ryan gives you a little birthday present. Well, at times, Brendan's teammates thinks he's about 2 years old. But he's refreshing in our mind.
And here is Chris Carpenter, and this is one of those situations here. Nobody out, runners at first and second, where the Brewers can really try to be aggressive with Molina running. Keep him close to the bag and then get that force play at third. If not, trying to go for a double play with it too. Carpenter spins away, and he is hit by the pitch. And warnings here.
No, he's asking about, did he bunt at it?
Initially, it looked like he was giving him a warning.
I agree with you as the umpire, as a rookie umpire, who's getting a little carried away there. But Tony quite concerned, rightfully so, with his ace up and in. He's showing bunt, but you watch him pull it back as he's trying to get out of the way of the pitch. So they award him, and the umpire was just trying to make sure that he do this bunting, and it just grazes his uniform. Thankfully, he got a little bit of the hand.
Hit his right hand. I wonder if it did catch it a little bit. But Carpenter says he's fine. He's a hockey player.
Oh yeah,
We're all-state hockey player.
Look at middle infielders.
So hit by the pitch. Bases loaded here for Schumacher. Second time already the Cardinals have had the bases loaded. This time nobody out. Schumacher singled center field first time up, and he's looking for his first ever grand slam. Wouldn't that be something?
Have fun.
So bases loaded, nobody out. 0-1 pitch.
Ooh, another pitch inside. That's a trademark of Bush. He's not afraid to pitch inside, which is a great attribute. But just coming back after about a 2-month layoff with that arm injury, tricep muscle there, his command is not what he wants it to be.
Schumacher out to left, base hit. One run is in. Here comes another. The throw by Braun is cut off. What a job to read it off the bat by Brendan Ryan. Braun tried to deke him. It didn't work, and the Cardinals have a lead. It's 2-1 on the great hustle by Brendan.
Ryan Braun, the former third baseman, has a fairly strong throwing arm, but see this ball, it's up in the zone, and Schumacher, one of the better ones, of going to the opposite field. Braun comes in, hits the cutoff man. Now Molina comes home, but look at how far and how close Brendan Ryan is. We thought for a minute you might have both of them sliding at the same time, but they cut it off. McGee cuts it off, and no play, and the Cardinals take the 2-1 lead.
Here's Colby, and Colby looks at a ball a little bit low. Albert Pujols is on deck, and Bush is in a world of trouble here in this bottom of the second. Still nobody out. Pujols on deck. That's what I mean. Brendan Ryan at second base got a pretty good look at it and read it all the way. Molina wasn't quite sure. He had to make sure that got down, so he was hesitant. And then Brendan was hustling all the way in.
Yeah, it's a much easier read for the runner at second base because he can see the ball on an angle to see where the height of it, see if it'll carry it far enough to the outfielder.
And that's a base hitting the right. Carpenter will be held up, and look who's coming up with the bases loaded. Mr. Grand Slam.
I think he's had a little success with the bases loaded this season, hasn't he? He is 8 for 12 with 27 RBIs this season with the bases loaded. He has 5 grand slams this season. Chris Bosio, who is the AAA pitching coach, but he was promoted when Billy Castro was fired.
Now, what do you say in this conversation?
Good luck.
I mean,
no,
what else can you possibly
what
say?
it is? Ken Maka told him to go out and talk to him, and he goes, "Why me?" It's like, yeah, don't let him beat you. You know, we're not afraid to intentionally walk him here. Maybe this will be the time they intentionally walk him. See if that strategy that failed last night.
Some of these fans on their feet here in the second inning for Albert.
Remember, Albert is at in New York when he hit his 5th grand slam this season and his 11th overall, and set the Cardinals single season and all-time record for slam.
First pitch to Pujols is taken for a ball. Carpenter, the runner at third base. Schumacher at second. And Colby Rasmus over at first. The outfield straightaway and deep for Pujols. 2-1. Cardinals fell behind 1-0. They now have the lead. Then next to Albert. And Pujols hits it high in the air out to right field. It should be caught. No, it drops. It's a ground rule double, and 2 runs will score. Catalanato couldn't get there. And Pujols adds to his ridiculous numbers with the bases loaded. It's 4-1 Cardinals. Now, as we talked about before, if you're Ken Maka, first base open, would you even think about
trying to jam him, and Albert has a big swing? And you see Catalanato really hustling all the way, but playing over into right center, never got there, and then they catch a break in a sense that the ground rule double.
So nobody out, and Matt Holliday looks at a strike.
Brendan McGee's been good luck on his 2nd birthday.
And they've got action already in their bullpen for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Narveson. Saw him last night, the former Cardinal.
0-1 pitch, and that is ripped off the glove of the third baseman McGee in the left. Holliday comes through. 5-1 Cardinals.
The 90th RBI for Holliday. Albert's up to 113. Look at this ball. It's just a rocket. McGee got a glove on it and slowed it up, but that just came off his bat. If it came in about 90 plus, it went out about 140.
Runners at first and third, and still nobody out. 5-1 Cardinals, and now Ricky Ankiel. 8th man to come to the plate here in the bottom of the 2nd.
We talked about it. It was in the 4th inning, I believe, 3rd or 4th inning, that he had 6 consecutive, didn't allow a hit, and then he walked the pitcher and had 6 consecutive base runners. Here it's in the 2nd inning.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Ricky Ankiel.
We've been waiting to see this offense take off. We saw a glimpse of it last night, and who knows what this score might be tonight.
Two balls, no strikes, nobody out. Runners at first and third for Ricky Ankiel, who walked his first time up. Big gap in the left center field for Ankiel. A 2-0 pitch. 3-0. DeRosa on deck. Ken Maka going through his mind right now. How much longer can I stick with my starter here? Trying to get some innings from him. The starters for Milwaukee have not gotten deep much this season. And that is ball 4 on Ricky Ankiel. So here we go again, bases loaded.
Ken Mocky just has to let him go out there to try to get his pitch count up.
And DeRosa had the bases loaded back in the first inning and flied out to center to end the bottom of the first.
No different coming up now with nobody out versus 2 outs.
Ninth man to come to the plate for the Cardinals. First pitch to him. On a hop to the second baseman. Lopez out at second, on to first in a double play. Run does score. And it's 6-1. Could be a long night for those two. There's Yadier Molina. Singled and scored the second inning. That's this inning, as he started it. Six to 1 Cardinals. And a swing and a miss. Matt Holliday, the runner at third, and normally it's been Milwaukee that has seen the big innings, lead the major leagues with the 5+ runs, 21. Most in the National League, and the Cardinals with just 7 of those. That is updated with 6 more tonight.
Least in the National League.
And there's that breaking ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mets and Rockies underway. It's 1-1. That's in the first.
A lot of game left, but you feel pretty comfortable with Chris Carpenter on the mound, don't you?
Sure do. Little leeway now, as maybe he was trying to find his mechanics, but you go back to the top of this inning, he looked much better than he did at the tail end of the first.
And true to form with quality pitchers. You say it all the time, but the Cardinals got so many quality pitchers now that if you're going to get to them, you've got to get to them in the first inning or two. As they get in a groove, they just take off.
1-2 pitch to Yadi. 2-2. And already 47 pitches in 2 innings, not even a complete 2 here for Bush. Inning and 2/3 so far.
Got to do, if you're Ken Maka, when Bush comes in after this inning and you say, okay, kid, you're throwing 50 pitches, you got about 50 more. Just try and get as many innings as you can, and some way he's going to really get that, get ready for his next start.
3-2 pitch to Yadi. Spoils it, hits it out of play. Hopefully this crowd didn't arrive late. Some of these folks, they've missed out on some of the fireworks as Molina stays alive. You see that a bunch from Yadi throughout the course of the season. He'll just throw the bat at it. And now if you're Tony La Russa, you're saying, all right, let's play this out. Let's finish this season out strong, and let's not get anybody hurt. Carpenter with 30 pitches in his 2 innings, and now with a 5-run lead. Molina trying to add to it. Gap in the left center for the Cardinal catcher. Catalanato over right about where Pujols landed, and does he make the catch? Yes, he does. So Carpenter sees his offense come alive. It's 6-1 after 2. to you by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. By the Casino Queen Hotel and Casino, home of the loosest slots. And the new third-pound Angus burgers are here. Try one for yourself today, only at McDonald's. Carpenter back to work as we move to the third. And that pitch is taken a little bit low. We can have a case where all three Molina brothers are in postseason play this year. Yachty of the Cardinals, Benji, and Jose Molina was a backup catcher for the Yankees. The one in question would be Benji, who had a standing ovation the other night in San Francisco with a dramatic home run.
He's been banged up a little bit with a thigh injury or something.
How about the numbers he's put up in San Francisco? As you see, just a gorgeous night outside of Busch Stadium, the old courthouse. Doesn't get much better than this. Temperatures are just perfect.
Very special night for Ted and Dottie Drews. Ted Drews, we had some up here tonight, but Ted and Dottie are celebrating their 59th wedding anniversary.
Liner just past Schumacher and into right center. So Catalanato 2 for 2.
2 for 2. He's batting over 400 coming in against Carpenter, and you saw that he got up a little piece of it as he slowed down and changed direction.
Think about the 1-2 combinations at the top of any rotation, and most people point to Lincecum and Kane, but Carpenter and Wainwright actually have a little bit better numbers, slightly, than the combination of Lincecum and Kane. And Happ and Lee have been very good over in Philadelphia. Here's a look at some of the great combos this 2009 season in the National League.
I think if you throw Pinheiro in there, nobody can match what the trio has done. And then you talk about if Smoltz will be pitching tomorrow night, how about that shot there? As he tied him up. But if you throw in Smoltz, if he continues to pitch as well as he has in his first two Cardinal starts, no one can match those four.
I asked John today down in the dugout, it's 0-2 here on Ryan Braun. I said, if you were moved to the bullpen for postseason play, do you need a tune-up at this point if it started tomorrow, let's say? I mean, do you need a week to work out of the bullpen just to get ready?
You asked me, and I said no. What did he say?
Yes.
He did?
Yes. He said he could do it. He said, you know, if push came to shove, yes, but, you know, would I feel more comfortable having a chance to go out there and do it? Yes. And one of the reasons that he said was, I need to see how my body responds if I needed to go back-to-back games, which makes sense.
Yeah, and now that is the only question. At 42 and coming off his shoulder surgery and 5 surgeries overall, you know, how does his arm bounce back after relief roles?
I asked him, when you first went into the bullpen with Atlanta, I said, I'm just curious, how long did it take you to warm up when you first were in that bullpen? 55 pitches. He said, I didn't know how to warm up when I was in the bullpen. He said, now obviously I taught myself, and the thing that he couldn't get out of his mind, he said, I used to warm up as a starter.
I was going to say, that's probably the same amount he pitched when he was warming up as a starter.
There's a 1-2. And a strikeout of Braun. That's 3 tonight for Chris Carpenter.
And it's a mental state. And that's why I said, you know, he, like you say, feel more comfortable if he had a couple shots, as we see the strikeout pitch and freezes Braun a little cutter. But, you know, almost it's mentally, you have to go out there and just convince yourself, okay, I threw 10 pitches. I know I got 8 more on the mound. That's all I need.
It's ripped foul by Fielder. He said by the end of it, he said there were times that Bobby would quickly call down there, meaning Bobby Cox, and say, Smoltzy, get ready. And he said it'd take me about 10 pitches.
Well, see, that's it. I mean, and mentally, you know, you get to the point where you say, I could, you know, if the phone rang and said, come on out, you're going to come into a save situation without throwing a pitch in the bullpen. you know you can handle it. The reason you know you can handle it because it would never be that way. You're going to get 5, 6 pitches down there anyway at minimum, and then you got your 8 more pitches on the mound. So you just convince yourself mentally that that's all you need.
1 ball, 1 strike on Fielder trying to go the other way. DeRosa throws to second out there and gets the lead runner.
How about that play?
Now they were working on that specifically, that play right there earlier today with Joe Patini, Tony La Russa, Al McRae, but throwing across his body here and trying to get a lead runner. The shortstops, and that included Brendan Ryan and Thurston, Khalil Green, all of them, Troy Gloss, working on that exact play right there.
You could probably ask him tomorrow, and he might sit there and say, I was getting ready to make that play, but because of what we worked on today, I said, let's put it in practice. Because he's first fielded that ball thinking he was going to go to first base, and then as he's making the exchange, the mind clicked in and said, hey, I can get the lead man there. I'll leave the slower runner fielder at first base. You know, it's 2 outs, but still, you know, they don't have a man in scoring position.
Muscle memory, too.
Sure.
You know,
because of the throws that he made this afternoon, the body was conditioned to repeat that off-balance throw and throw, you know, behind you.
And that's a strike at the knees to McGee, who has picked up an RBI single.
Had a young man come down early and work with Hal McRae, Connor Smith. And one of the things that Hal did a lot of tee work with him, the one thing he said, now this is what you've got to work on, is hitting, you know, using your hands, striking the ball. You know, work all this tee work. And he said, then you get in the game, that's when you concentrate on the ball. And it really makes sense, but he was trying to perfect the swing so when you come to the plate, you don't have to think about the swing. You just know your hands are going to get to the hitting point, and you just look for the ball and trust your hands will get there.
1-2 the count on Casey McGee. Up and in. Trinity High School in Manchester, New Hampshire for Chris Carpenter, where he was All-State 3 years in both baseball and hockey. Grew up a fan of the Boston Red Sox, 45 minutes away from Fenway Park, and he said as a kid he used to go watch Roger Clemens. Many ways idolized him, and then was his teammate in Toronto, and has talked about Clemens being one of the great influences in his professional career.
And that's what the young pitchers should feel now with Carpenter and with Smoltz, and pick the brain of also Wainwright and Pinheiro.
That's a couple times now he's looked back at the mound and he slipped on that delivery, and that's his second walk he's issued here tonight. I thought it was interesting when we visited with him earlier this year, and he said David Wells was one of his guys that he really looked up to, that taught him to have fun in this game.
And Pat Henkin, yeah, that's a very good point. At this level, you've got to have some fun. Now, some people say the fun is winning, but you got to have some relief, and you can't always be totally serious out there because it'll eat you up.
I hope he's all right. Molina checking on him, and you can see Molina then motion to the dugout that he's all right. Barry Weinberg is near that top step of the dugout. Here's that last pitch.
Well, you see when he slips like that, that's a way that you can pull an adductor or groin muscle. And what were you just saying about, yeah, you want to finish hard, you want to play these games extremely competitive and get yourself ready for postseason, but you don't want to get anybody hurt.
There's a fly ball out to left. Holiday over. He won't get it, and a run will score. Makes it a 6-2 game. Base hit from Mike Cameron, and he picks up his 57th RBI. I know something that'll put a smile on your face, Al. The fact that Chris Carpenter has given up dipping here in 2009, no longer using smokeless tobacco.
It does. I think it's great for Chris and his family, but the longevity, nothing good with that stuff.
There's a ground ball that's pulled foul, and he did it by using acupuncture that helped him. It's a habit that he's had since he was in high school, and this year, first time that he's been able to kick that habit.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for me to say that someone's never smoked, but the dipping is very, very dangerous.
And that's upstairs to Jason Kendall. Missed out on obtaining your brick paver at Busch Stadium? Well, less than 100 pavers remain for our 3 new greatest moments sections outside Gate 1. Order yours today at STLCardinals.com/bricks. Quantities are very limited, so don't delay. Find out more at STLCardinals.com. 1-1 pitch to Kendall, and a liner into center field. Rasmus is there. He was playing shallow and takes the hit away. The Brewers will strand 2. Ryan, Carpenter, and Schumacher coming up at 6-2 St. Louis. The bottom of the second, and this season both Mizzou non-conference games from Perot Field will be available on pay-per-view. On September 12th, the Tigers take on Bowling Green. September 19th, they'll play Furman. Many cable and video operators in our Cardinals viewing area will offer these pay-per-view games for $29.95. So find out more. Call your local cable, satellite, or telco provider to order that game right now. Pay-per-view for the Missouri Tigers. Happy birthday to Virgil Brake, who turns 95 today, watching in Neelyville, Missouri. Brendan Ryan is 1 for 1 tonight. Singleton scored back in that big inning in the second, and he is hit by the pitch. Dave Busch has hit 2 tonight. He's hit Carpenter, and now he hits Brendan Ryan.
Happy 68th birthday to James Lane of Carver's Ridge, Illinois. And we'll take a look at that inside pitch. It just gets him on the jersey also. And Edith Lane, his mother, her birthday is next week, and Edith Lane will be turning 97. He's a lifelong Cardinal fan.
So Busch now working from the stretch. And a runner goes, and it's swung on and fouled back just to the left of us.
Boy, Brendan had a great jump. There was no way Kendall was going to throw him out, but Carpenter swinging away and fouled it back.
Carpenter has had just so many injuries in his career. Wonderful to see him back. It was September 11th of 2008. He was shut down for the season. You might remember that game in Chicago. And the Cardinals, for the most part, have had him for the entire season this year. The exception of about 4.5, 5 weeks.
Never have talked about the nerve condition last several months that went around to a lot of specialists, and they all told him that they couldn't guarantee with surgery that nerve condition would be fixed, and they all said there was a 5% chance that he could lose the normal use of his arm, so he elected not to have it.
He squares here. It's back to Bush, and he will go to second. Out there, no play at first.
Brendan hope he didn't jam his ankle as gets up smarting, limping a little bit, but he'll shake it off.
Plays so hard. You watch Brendan Ryan. I don't think we've ever seen a game in which his uniform isn't dirty in some type of play, breaking up a double play or diving
hard into that bag, and
there's not a lot of give in those bags.
I was just going to say, the way he did it, he just wasn't much of a shock absorber in that ankle.
Schumacher is 2 for 2. Bases loaded back in the second. He delivered with a single to score a couple. Now with 34 RBIs and a pair of singles here tonight with a run scored. Six to 2 St. Louis here in the third inning. And that pitch is taken low and away, and the pitch count edging to 60 already here for Dave Bush with only one out in the Cardinals half of the third. With Milwaukee after Toronto, Dave Bush an even 500 in his Brewers career at 36 and 36 with an ERA of 4.74. The 2-0. And that one is a strike. 2-1.
You're talking about Carpenter was with Toronto, and he was about a 500 pitcher with the Blue Jays, but he's been far from that as a Cardinal. He's had the best winning percentage of any Cardinal pitcher with 100 decisions.
2-1 pitch now to Schumacher. Foul back. 2-2. Last year, it was everybody in baseball talking about the acquisition of CC Sabathia and what he meant to Milwaukee. And this year, that has shifted to the Gateway City and what the Cardinals have done with Matt Holliday and DeRosa, Lugo, and Smoltz. And the impact of Matt Holliday has just been remarkable. Cardinals 26 and 9 since he has arrived on the scene. 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball hit down the right field line, but foul. Skip trying to make it 3 straight innings with a base hit. What do you think of that? 26 and 9. He has another RBI here tonight, and that makes 36 for Matt Holliday since he came over from the Oakland A's. And at this point last year for the Brewers, CC Sabathia was 7-0, and he had 4 complete games in that time. Starting pitching, though, has not been there this year for Milwaukee. 2 balls, 2 strikes. On deck, Colby Rasmus. And another base hit for Skip Schumacher, and it's another 3-hit night.
He leads the ball club with 12 3-hit games, and he's got a chance for a lot more as we're only in the third inning here. But so good at going to the opposite field, getting that ball out over the plate and just going with the pitch and guiding it over the infield in front of the left fielder.
Runners at first and second, 1 out. Colby Rasmus, this unforgiving St. Louis lineup. Cardinals already with 9 base hits, and Rasmus hits it sharply to fielder out at second, and that's the only out that they'll get.
And they're pretty lucky that J.J. Hardy just let that fly, because fielder didn't do anything to get back to the bag, and Bush wasn't going that way either. So Hardy just ate it. Here you see fielder throws it, nobody at the first base bag. J.J. started to throw, no one there, and I think because of Schumacher sliding in right there, he had a chance to get a look at the bag and noticed no one there, so he didn't throw the ball away.
Mentioned that Pujols tied with Joe DiMaggio on the all-time home run list. One double shy of tying Joe Medwick in doubles.
He'll be third on the all-time Cards list.
And that would be at 377. So you figure in year 10 he's going to have a chance to get to that 400 home run plateau.
Every year of his career he's been over 30. His career high in home runs is 49, but you say just averaging right there, right around 40 a season.
0-1 pitch to Albert. And for those of you that have just joined us here tonight, it was Albert Pujols nominated once again for the Roberto Clemente Award, which he received the 08 Clemente Award earlier before our first pitch, and he's been nominated for 09. And Pujols breaks his bat, hits it out to Braun, and it's caught. And of course, Pujols won that award for all of baseball last year, the nominee for St. Louis in 09. 6-2 after. Puts that away off the bat of J.J. Hardy for the first out here in the fourth. Wade Thompson, Dan Kaplan, and Brad Barnett, all from the West End, our guests here in the booth. Good play here by Pujols on the short hop, and the West End pop-up challenge has become very popular, not only with the folks that take part in it, but also for lawyers.
I'm going to say you and I enjoy it, and we're glad no one has gotten hurt yet, but some of those contestants should never boo a player if they miss a pop-up, right?
We've seen them overrun it. They come up a little bit shallow, but we appreciate the Weston and what they do with Cardinal Baseball. Great association, and talking with some of the fans that have participated in that, they've really gotten a kick out of it. Had a lot of fun being on the field here at Busch Stadium. Good play to his left by Brendan Ryan. And we say that kiddingly, of course. Everybody is safe out there. They only get the top talent to participate in that.
Everybody's safe but Pete Prenzi.
Well, that was practicing.
That was Fredbert's fault.
There was a ball that got away from the actual machine that throws or pops up the pop-ups and hits him in the air, and Pete was working with some of the players and he caught one
right on top of the head.
Here's Felipe Lopez and a strike.
And it really wasn't funny because he had headaches for weeks, but he is the strength and conditioning coach for the Cardinals, and he was working with the players and didn't know that they were trying to see if the gun was firing correctly, and Fredberg just launched one and didn't tell anybody, and it came down right on top of Pete's head.
Thank goodness he's all right, and he does a wonderful job with the players and travels around the country during the off season, visiting with the players, specific workout programs that they have for pitchers and catchers and some of the minor leaguers, the outfielders, flexibility programs, all the different things that they work on. Here's a 2-2 to Lopez, and he'll slap it the other way, but foul.
Last year, Felipe was a real shot in the arm offensively for the Cardinals, and this year trying to do the same thing for Milwaukee.
2-2 pitch. Hit on his hands, but fouled back.
Well, some of his pitches haven't been quite as sharp, and the cutter being one where he's getting underneath it, and so it doesn't have that slight downward tilt.
And he'll go deep into this count. 64 pitches tonight for Carpenter. 3-2 with 2 outs. Now top of the ninth, and the Giants lead the Phillies 4-0. Here's a 3-2 pitch, and he missed. So a walk to Lopez with 2 outs, and very unlike Carpenter, he has walked 3 in 4 innings.
And brings up Catalanato, who's 2 for 2 against him.
Frank Catalanato with 2 outs and runner at first. Short lead at first by Lopez. Catalanato has singled and scored, and also singled in the third. Mentioned before, he's got pretty good numbers against Carpenter in his career over in the American League.
About a month ago, Carpenter walked 4. That was his season high. First time he's walked, one of the few times he's walked 3.
That pitch started on the outside portion of the plate. The curveball winds up at the feet on the left side of Catalanato.
He's a big man too, and so he kind of walks this ball up there and expect it to come in a lot harder than an off-speed pitch. He fires the fastball in underneath the hands.
Two and two the count, 2 outs, 6-2 Cardinals here in the top of the 4th. And again he goes 3-2.
Carpenter feels like going up and introducing himself to this rookie umpire and saying, you know, I'm the guy that has the best ERA in baseball.
Thought one of the pitches to Lopez was strike 3, and Carpenter actually started to walk off, and that hits the umpire, and it's into shallow right field. Over to get it is Schumacher, and that's the last thing that any umpire wants there, and I believe that's Mike Everett.
Mike Everett, and it is embarrassing to an umpire to be hit. 1, it hurts, and 2, and you see him out there trying to make sure he's all right. He just doesn't really move. Then he didn't know which way to move. He gets him inside maybe around the calf, and Barry Weinberg out to check on him. It's like hitting a bag. You know, you hit an umpire, that ball's in play. There's going to be a base hit up the middle, so it wasn't going to change the scoring. Gary Davis, the crew chief, third base umpire, making sure he's all right.
Catalanato now a 3-hit night. And it brings in Ryan Braun. Now, Braun, one swing of the bat could get Milwaukee right back in this game. He's flied out to center and struck out. And Braun is swinging a miss. You can see where Ryan Braun might get under the skin of the opposition. Plays with a little flair, but he backs it up with good numbers.
He's one of the best pure hitters in the game, and a young player and kind of the face of their organization. But sometimes it's a compliment by the way a guy plays that he can get under the skin of the opposition.
You wouldn't imagine that Carpenter goes all that deep in this game tonight. 74 pitches, and we're only in the top of the fourth. I'm sure they'll keep a real close eye on his pitch count final month of this regular season. Big lead in the Central.
That's a good point. Remember, he really hasn't pitched for a couple of years, so you do kind of get a little concerned that he doesn't have the fatigue over the long course of the year.
Here's a 1-2. Doesn't chase. Blocked by Molina. 2-2.
This was a brilliant game against the Brewers early in the season, where the first hit of the game was in the 7th inning. Leadoff single. He only gave up 2 hits in 8 innings. This isn't quite the same Carpenter as that day, or just about any other time he's taken the mound this year.
Here's a 2-2. Cardinals will have Holiday and Keel and DeRosa all coming up.
Braun needs one more home run for 100 in his career. He's the first player in franchise history to hit at least 20 home runs in each of his first 3 major league seasons.
And again he slips and looks back at the mound. It's 3 walks tonight for Carpenter, and he goes to 3-2 here on Braun.
It looks like he's fallen into his landing hole. It really only looks like there's one out there. You can see that dark area right there. So Bush and Carpenter must be landing pretty much in the same spot. And he's slipping.
3-2 sharply to Ryan. Good concentration on the play with the runner right in front of him. And Braun and the Brewers have stranded 7. 6-2 St. Louis over Milwaukee. And Matt Holliday will lead it off. Let's go pitch by pitch in the Ryan Braun at bat, presented by Chevrolet.
A breaking ball gets hit there, and then he throws a little cutter out there. Another one out there, another breaking ball. Fastball on the inside part. Like he slipped on there. And then he throws that cutter, got a little bit of it, and you were absolutely right. What great concentration by Brendan Ryan as the runner tried to screen him, and that ball was hit extremely hard.
We saw Pujols do that the other night, led to a big inning after the year by Tejada, I believe.
Sure did.
1-0 pitch to Matt Holliday, who has another RBI here tonight. On the season, he's closing in on the century mark for RBIs. He's got 90 overall, 20 home runs, and hitting .310. Here's a 2-0 pitch. In the dirt, 3 balls and no strikes.
And he's always hit well in this ballpark, even when he was with Colorado. And just something about it, I think he just feels very comfortable, and let's hope he feels very comfortable here next year.
Wearing a Cardinal uniform.
Wearing the Cardinal uniform. That's a good disclaimer there.
3 balls and a strike.
There's no doubt about it. He's been won over by his teammates in the city.
Holliday with a fly ball into right center. That may get down, and it will. Off the glove of Catalinato. Matt Holliday winds up with a double. That's a couple of balls that he has not gotten to Catalinato tonight. One was the ground rule double by Pujols with the bases loaded, and this one here out the bat of Matt Holliday.
That's a real chop play, trying to backhand it. Maybe reaches out a little bit too soon, and when you do that, it slows down your forward progress. But off the little finger of his glove, long run is may have been stationed a little bit off.
Here's Rick Ankiel. And the first pitch is a strike with a runner at second base.
How about the gap in left center for Ankiel?
They have played him that way first 2 at bats, and hasn't mattered as Ankiel has walked twice. And here comes an 0-1 pitch to Rick. He's due for a home run. 1 ball. Rather make that a strike. No balls and 2 strikes. Marlins have jumped out to a 7-3 lead over Atlanta. That's in the top of the 7th. Rockies tied up 2-2 with that Mets team that's really had a rough year here in 2009.
Pretty close pitch there on 0-2.
You know what, though? That was the pitch that Lopez took for a ball that Carpenter started to walk off the mound, thinking it the strikeout, and the inning was through.
Arvidsson back up throwing in the Brewers pen.
And a 1-2. Dave Bush has hit 2 tonight. Cardinals already with 10 hits. They've stranded 6. Milwaukee has 6 base hits. They've stranded 7.
The 2 batters he's hit, both right-handed batters, and you say he'll run that cutter in a lot to the left-handed batters.
Ricky Ankiel, little floater, right center, drops for a base hit. Holliday held up at third. Runners at first and third, and nobody out. How much longer will Ken Maka stick with his starter tonight? Come watch the Cardinals take on the Braves on Saturday, September 12th, and receive an all-star pennant featuring your 2009 Cardinals All-Stars, Albert Pujols, Ryan Franklin, Yadier Molina, and manager Tony La Russa. All kids 15 and younger receive the pennant courtesy of Coca-Cola and the Pasta House. For tickets, visit STLCardinals.com.
You know, it's tough for Maka because he's trying to stretch out Bush, and yet you're still trying to keep some semblance of being able to win this ball game.
I mean, you're only in the 4th.
You're only in the 4th. The grand slam would tie it if the Cardinals don't add to their 4-run lead. But, you know, you've got a starter. He's only thrown 77 pitches. You want to stretch him out and get him going in the right direction.
Saw a shot of Willie Randolph there, the former Mets manager, and one of his prized players is now wearing a Radical helmet. That's David Wright after he was hit on the head the other day. Had to go on the DL.
Have you seen the helmets?
I have.
They are made by Rawlings, and they're about a third larger.
Correct.
And a lot of players are saying they're too big and bulky and too heavy.
This should be deep enough for Holiday. Let's see. Here he comes. Cameron's throw to the plate. Offline just a bit. Cut off by fielder. 7-2 St. Louis. RBI by Mark DeRosa. David Wright, a lot of people thought that he would sit out for the remainder of the season. He's played at least 154 games in 4 full seasons since he came into the big leagues. Matter of fact, 160 in 3 of the 4 campaigns. So it's tough to keep him down, but with that helmet, he's back in there for the final few weeks of the regular season.
And Bush is out of there. As Narveson will be coming in. Just 3 1/3 after a tough outing, his first one coming back from arm problems.
RBI for DeRosa, his 18th, and Narveson coming in. It's our Chevrolet called to the bullpen. The lefty coming in. In a game San Francisco needs to win. Keep pace in the wild card. Red Sox, White Sox, pivotal game for both teams. Fox Saturday Baseball, 3 o'clock Central, only on Fox. Yadier Molina with 1 out. And a runner at first base, and the Cardinals lead it 7-2.
Iverson pitched a perfect inning last night. It was his 13th outing. Looking for number 14th now. Been up a couple different times with the Brewers.
And the pitch is popped up. Right side. Fielder will give chase. Runs out of room, out of play. Narveson, part of the Larry Walker deal. Famous trade in recent Cardinals history. Larry Walker talked about if he could go back and do it over again, he would love to spend more time in St. Louis. John Smoltz saying the other day it's been much better than he ever thought here in town. A lot of that has to do with the way he's pitched too.
That's true.
But he's had a couple of really fine receptions. There's a steal and no throw. So Ricky Ankiel, who's been on base 3 times tonight with a couple of walks and a single, now a stolen base. Tony La Russa debated whether or not to start Brian Ludwig, and he went with Ricky Ankiel, and that hunch has paid off.
Ankiel had some good numbers against Bush, and just get the feeling that even though the Cardinals have scored 7 runs and they lead 7-2, that you might need a few more.
Only in the 4th, and you would figure that Milwaukee will get into the Cardinal bullpen too. As Carpenter has had a lot of pitches tonight.
He's probably in his 80s.
Some people may say, though, 7-2, unwritten rule in baseball, you don't steal. But it's still early and it's a 5-run lead.
Those rules have all been thrown out in this era of scoring.
2-1 pitch to Yadier Molina. And Yadi hits it high in the air out to deep right center field. And that hops over the wall. It's a ground rule double. And Keel will score to make it 8-2. And Molina picks up the RBI. His 45th as the fireworks go off. But hey, it's only a ground rule double. A little premature.
Well, it was half the fireworks display. You know, so signifying a double. Molina, that inside, the hands inside, and drives the ball out there, hops over the wall for the ground rule double. Another base hit, to right field.
We're wondering when this offense would come alive, when everybody would click, and we've seen that the last couple of nights. Pujols, couple of base hits tonight. Holiday with 2 base hits, and then hitting behind them, and Keel on base 3 times. So 3, 4, and 5 really done some damage tonight for the Cardinals. 1 out, and here's a 1-0 pitch to Brendan Ryan. Pitch in the dirt. 2 balls, no strikes. And for a guy like Narveson, these games are so important. Even though your club is out of it, it's a chance to make an impression and a chance to show somebody that you belong. You stick in the major leagues.
Well, not only that, but when you start playing a club like the Cardinals, you're going to start getting a lot of other clubs following them and scouting them for postseason. But you're pitching with an opportunity to impress several organizations.
Strike at the knees. So Dave Bush has been knocked out of this game.
All 8 runs, all 8 earned runs to the starter Dave Bush.
A 2-1 pitch to Brendan Ryan. Big question for the Brewers this offseason, at least one of them, Jason Kendall. And he would like to re-sign with the Brewers, but they have a young catcher that they really like. They also have Rivera. So they've got a couple of prospects that maybe could take his spot, be a little bit cheaper as Brendan Ryan strikes out on the breaking ball. You would figure, though, a guy like Kendall would find a home somewhere, whether it be a starter or a backup. Reliable, but valuable, he's been durable. In-game box score for the Cardinals. And a lot of damage done, 1 through 4. Molina 2 for 3 tonight. And even Chris Carpenter scored a run after he was hit by a pitch. And Carpenter at the plate right now with 2 outs and a chance to help himself.
Already his 3rd plate appearance of this game.
Fouled back for strike 1.
He's been on base first 2 times, hit by a pitch, and then failed sacrifice, and they got the lead runner at second base and end up running the bases. They'll sleep well tonight.
Cardinals catch a break not only in this series but next series. Giovanni Gallardo doesn't face the Cardinals in the 6 games. Won't see him tomorrow. We'll not see him next week as Ken Maka has pushed him back a couple of dates. And Gallardo has thrown over 2,900 pitches, the 4th highest count in the National League. He's only 23. They're out of the race, so they're trying to be extra cautious with him here in the final month. And a swing and a miss. Carpenter strikes out, but the Cardinals add 2 more, and they lead this ball game after 4. It's 8-2 here at Busch Stadium. As Chris Carpenter is finishing up his warm-up tosses. Now we're ready for our This Date in Baseball History. Back in '98, Kent Mercker hits his only career home run, a grand slam, helping the Cardinals beat the Marlins. September 2nd, 1998. Our Schnooks at This Date in Baseball History. Remember, Kent Mercker, of course, had that very scary situation, had the brain aneurysm, and then after that wound up making it back to the major leagues and a nice long career.
Absolutely. It all started with Atlanta Braves, as he was a very successful starting pitcher. Ended up having a nice career as a reliever. Remember the grand slam, don't you?
Oh, sure. Some of these really just stick out. I mean, there's some that when they bring them back up on the This Date in History, you always remember those type of plays. Grand slam by Kent Mercker back in early September of '98. Great to see that barely 5 months removed from open heart surgery, Aaron Boone starting lineup for the Astros against the Cubs at Wrigley Field. That's wonderful to see. I don't know if you've had the chance to visit with him at length, Al, but he is one of the real good guys in the sport.
Yes, and knew his father, met his grandfather, 3-generation family. Older brother, and a nice career. Brett.
Pitch taken for a ball. 3 more losses, and the Pirates will have an American professional sports record with a 17th consecutive losing season. To avoid it, they have to go 28-2, which I just don't think is going to happen. That's slicing and a fair ball into the corner. Fielder is going to be waved in. He'll touch the bag at third base, and he will score on the double by Casey McGee. How about the series by McGee? 2 games and 6 RBIs. He's made a statement here.
Remember, he's got 12 home runs. All 12 of those have been in the last 59 games. This ball out away from him. He's got good power and gets right down the corner. Then it gets away from Keel.
Now, this might be a situation where you see Carpenter have one of his shortest outings, go 5 innings, still qualify for the win, but then it's up to the bullpen.
I think you're right.
Strike at the knees, and I do believe it's back-to-back starts in which he, while he hasn't been overly sharp and Carpenter-like, I don't think the strike zone has been to his benefit at all.
No, and he's been a little upset with it too. Went 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. He walked 2. In his last time, he beat Houston.
A pitch like that right there.
Excuse me, got a no decision in that 4-3 loss.
Cardinals trying to go to 12-0 in his last 12 starts, and Carpenter himself trying to make it 10 straight with a win. High fly ball into right field. And Keel gets himself in a position to throw. Here we go, throwing to third base. Well, fans love to see that, so do I. On the day in which we honor the great Roberto Clemente, who maybe had the best throwing arm of anybody in right field, this one's not too shabby.
Good mechanics right there, getting behind the ball, get your body moving forward, just slightly offline. But only a handful of guys could have made it that close.
I'm going to guess that in all your years of playing the game of baseball at this level, 13 in the major leagues, you probably didn't see a better arm in the outfield than Roberto Clemente.
I don't think so. I saw some pretty good arms, but and I played against Clemente, but not that many games against him. There was a guy that played the outfield. The Pirates probably had a pretty good one, and Dave Parker.
How about as far as guys going over to the line, meaning making that catch and spinning and throwing like Clemente did? I mean, he had that patent. That was remarkable how he was able to do that.
Some guys, got good throwing arms, because they could utilize the turf. There's others that didn't need it because they could make the carry the entire way. Remember Mark Whitten?
I used to love Al going to the ballpark for two reasons for BP. Ozzie Smith taking ground balls and watching his routine. And for a time, not all the time, but for a time, watching Mark Whitten throw from right field.
But at the end of Mark's
here's DeRosa. He'll look back the runner. Makes the play, ground number 2.
At the end of Mark's career, people ran on him frequently, and they were successful because he stopped the mechanics of getting in position. Just assumed no one was going to run on him because he had a great arm. And then he'd rush his throws, and they were all offline. So you still got to always practice it, anticipate everyone's going to run, and then, if you want to show it off, show it off. Everybody loves to see it. But when you start thinking no one's going to run on you, that's when they will.
2 outs and a runner at third. Breaking ball and a strike on pitch number 91. We don't see a lot of them, but Ichiro has a tremendous throwing arm. Craig Counsell is on deck, and a swing and a miss by Hardy. No balls and 2 strikes.
And I still go back. I know the Cardinals would love to see Carpenter go at least 6 innings, but I think it really is something to think about. Being off nearly 2 years and those innings piling up, getting close to 160. You wouldn't think that would be too much, but when you haven't pitched for a couple of years, maybe you really do have to monitor his pitches and innings last month there.
It's a great point. You talk about these guys being creatures of habit. You walk a real fine line there from Tony La Russa, because Carpenter's going to say, I want to stay in my routine. I want to pitch every 5 days.
And I'll tell you one thing about Carpenter. He's a real pro. When he's on the mound, he's all business. He's a great competitor. But he has stated, when my manager tells me I'm through, I'm through.
Here's a grounder backing up Pujols to Carpenter. Watch the back foot here of Roberto Clemente. Bottom of 5 rolls in here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Top of the lineup. What a night it's been for Skip Schumacher. He's 3 for 3, make it 4 for 4. You get the feeling he's going to have plenty more at bats to add to that. 4 for 4 for Skip Schumacher. We're only in. This is the 5th inning.
So we talked about after he had his 3rd hit in the 3rd inning that he was going to get more opportunities, and to have it off a left-hander, that's a real key. See if Rasmus can't help himself out. He does have 2 of his 14 home runs have been against left-handers, but sub 200 average.
And that pitch taken for a strike. We've seen Colby get now the bulk of the playing time, that rotation in the outfield. Ludwig and of course Matt Holliday. Happy 88th birthday to Charlene Woods. Watching tonight on Fox Sports Midwest. One pitch, and Rasmus hits it in the air. Shallow left center. Mike Cameron calling for it and makes the catch.
Drifted on him, didn't he?
Sure did. Aaron Mocker, Jody Mocker, Sarah Mocker, Brittany Robinson, and Cammie Robinson. Robinson.
St. Carrie. His 2 daughters.
Carrie Robinson, former Cardinal, up here in the booth. Kind enough to stop by and say hello. Here's Albert Pujols. One out and a runner at first. First pitch to Albert is a strike. Pujols has a single back in the first, RBI double in the second, and flied out to left in the third. Here comes the 0-1 pitch to Pujols.
How extensive do you think the scouting report is on Albert Pujols?
It's got to be massive, but
yeah, you know, I mean,
how do you pitch him as he fouls it back?
Double hit.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, Al. You think that at times maybe you haven't figured out, but because he's able to make the adjustments and he knows his body and his swing so well, he's just very, very tough to pitch to.
I remember I saw Joe Schultz's 1968 National League book on every hitter in the National League, and it was like on a 3x5 little notebook. And I started one game in the big leagues at Forbes Field, and the point I was going to talk about was tied in with Clemente. Warming up, pitching coach said, I'm not going to tell you how to pitch these guys, you already know how.
Pujols off the glove of the third baseman, force play out at second. Nicely done as it went off the glove of McGee, then to Hardy, and a force at second to Felipe Lopez. And 5-6-4 on the putout.
Pitching coach, as you take a look at it, a little bit out in front, deflects it here. JJ throws it over, and they get Schumacher. But he said, don't throw anything inside to Clemente. Don't even throw anything at his head. Got the first 2 guys out. I threw a curveball to Clemente. Got a base hit over shortstop. Got Stargell out. Came in. He said, "Oh, I forgot to say, don't throw me curveballs either."
Well, that's a good scouting report, Al. And obviously, it paid off. You made it 13 years in the big leagues. With the great reports that you got,
Clemente wouldn't be, wouldn't have 3,000 hits without my contribution either.
An even 3,000 for Roberto Clemente. Some great players that we showed you on that list prior to our first pitch. The recipients of the Clemente Award, the most recent, Albert Pujols.
And it's such a prestigious award. Every team has a designate, and then for Albert to win the basically what you do on the field and what you do off the field, and with more emphasis off the field, that is one of the most prized awards in all of baseball.
Holliday, a swing and a miss.
Carson just has a nice, easy delivery, and then the ball kind of explodes. sneaky fast, I would say.
1-2 the count on Holiday. RBI single in the second, doubled and scored in the fourth. 2-2. You think about the different impacts that trades can have, and Holiday's has been huge with the Cardinals. Sabathia's huge last year with Milwaukee. And Milwaukee will go over 3 million in attendance. Will be there starting on Monday afternoon. Pittsburgh this weekend, and then Milwaukee, and then back home for 9 more games. Holiday, another hard hit ball. Hardy to his left, flips to second base for the force, and even the hometown fans give Hardy a round of applause and a fine play to his left. 8-3 after 5 here at Busch Stadium.
On this date in baseball, 1972, Roberto Clemente gets his 2,971st career hit, passing Honus Wagner for the most in Pirates history. So it was 1972. Went on to have 29 more hits, and then tragically, in a humanitarian flight, crashed as he was trying to send relief.
This is Counsell, and a good play by Schumacher to his left. So here we go. Carpenter extended now into the 6th. Back to the top of the lineup in Lopez.
See if he doesn't have a real efficient inning. He's had 97 pitches, and I would suspect that that would be about it.
And a strike at the knees to Felipe. Walked back in the 4th. Carpenter tonight has walked 3, struck out 3. Cardinals with 13 hits. They've out hit the Brewers 13-8. That's popped foul and out of play. Nothing in 2.
He's not accustomed to seeing 8 hits off of Carpenter, 3 walks, but he still holds them to 3 runs.
Swing and a miss, and a strikeout of Lopez. So 2 away. Got him on the breaking ball that time. Some of the offensive stars tonight. How about Schumacher with 4 hits? Albert Pujols, single, a double, RBI. On a nightly basis, it's Matt Holliday. RBI single. He has doubled and scored as well.
And Denny's Reyes now warming up. And a couple base hits, including an RBI and run scored.
Cardinals will have John Smoltz going tomorrow, and Danny Parra will go for Milwaukee as Denny's is getting loose with 2 outs and nobody on. Back to Carpenter. You would figure his night is through. midway through 6, and the Cardinals have an 8-3 lead. Drinkability. John Smoltz making his third start tomorrow for the Cardinals, and we'll come your way at 12:30 with a pregame show. Smoltz did not get a decision last Friday. He is 1-0 with a .82 ERA in his 2 starts with the Redbirds. So day baseball 12:30 tomorrow. The Cardinals and the Brewers. New pitcher in, and this is Smith, right-hander for Milwaukee. And it's our Chevy called to the bullpen.
Chris Smith was originally signed by Boston. Did make his major league debut last season with the Red Sox. 12 games, 1-0. ERA almost 8. Second stint with Milwaukee as he was recalled yesterday.
A-Rod picks up hit number 2,500 in his career tonight. The Yankees continue to roll. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Fouled back by Ankiel. San Francisco holds on. They beat the Phillies 4-0, and the numbers on Smith, his 24th appearance. Detroit another win as they're trying to hold off and win the Central Division. They're a 4-2 winner over Cleveland. Seattle 3-0 over the Angels. San Diego beat Washington 7-0. Oakland beat Kansas City 10-4. Cubs over Houston 2-0. White Sox big win over Minnesota today 4-2. And Cincinnati beat Pittsburgh. The final there was 5-3. A 2-2 to Rick Ankiel on its way. 3-2. Ankiel has walked a couple of times tonight and also picked up a single back in the 4th. The Cardinals batted around in the 2nd inning and picked up 6 runs. They added 2 more in the 4th, and they lead it 8-3. Here's a 3-2 to the Cardinals right fielder. He rips it for a base hit into right.
Perfect night for Ankiel. 2 for 2 with 2 walks. Scored a run and stole the base.
Remember Ankiel stealing last time, and the Cardinals at that point had a lead of 8-3, which it stands right now. Yankees leading their game against Baltimore 7-2 as they're running away with that American League East. Games of importance for the Cardinals as they started play tonight. Half game back for home field advantage if the playoffs would begin Cardinals would not be the #1 seed. Here you see the best overall records in the race. That pitch inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. I'm not sure.
Right now, the Cardinals would play the Dodgers.
To me, that might be your best matchup. When you think about short series and Lincecum and Kane, if San Francisco would get in. Phillies, Cliff Lee has been terrific. They've got Hamels now straightened out, they think.
Good offense.
Happ has been very good for them as well.
You don't know, in Colorado. See them, still see them in Colorado and get a better judge of that ball club.
Fly ball into right off the bat of DeRosa for the first out. Brings in Yachty. And Molina sees one in the dirt, and Keel reads it. He winds up at second base. It's a wild pitch. Happy birthday to our buddy Dan Marshall. Marshall Wireless, proud sponsor of Cardinals baseball and Blues hockey. Sure watching tonight. Happy birthday to Dan. 1 out, runner at second, 1 ball and no strikes. Out to visit Kendall. Mentioned that Carpenter led in ERA the National League at the start of play tonight. Zach Greinke 2.32 over in the American League.
Current ERA is 2.28. It still would be best in all of baseball. Look in there, looks like he's still ready to pitch more.
Here's a 2-0 pitch to Molina. Stetter is getting loose, the lefty out of the bullpen for Milwaukee. A 2-1 to Molina. 3-1. Cardinals trying to pick up win number 79, which would match the Dodgers in that win total.
They're just underway out in LA facing Arizona.
Base hit down the right field line. This will make it 9-3 Cardinals, and Keel scores easily. Molina trots into second base with a double. Yachty with his second double, and both have been to right field. And it's a 3-hit night for Molina. The Cardinals with 15 hits this evening.
And 2 RBIs for Molina with his 3 hits. See if it's out away from him. It is, and he just goes that way. Laces it into the right field corner.
So 9-3 Cardinals in a 6-run lead. Runner at second base, and Brendan takes a ball up and in. Carpenter is at the on-deck circle. Nobody warming up right now for the Cardinals.
It appears that he's going to stay in this ball game and pitch more.
2 balls, no strikes, 1 out, runner at second. Brendan Ryan at a single tonight. Back in the second inning, he's been hit by a pitch and struck out. That's taken for a ball, up and away.
Looks like Jason Mott is starting to throw in the Cardinal bullpen.
If you're going to get him up now, you would figure that you're going to bring him in, wouldn't you?
I would, and I would.
Brendan Ryan with a fly ball out to left.
We've seen Tony leave Carpenter out there for maybe some flaws or something, but now he pulls back and Troy Gloss will pinch hit. Fans remember the fine year that Troy had last season, and then late in January went under the knife for a shoulder operation and activated yesterday for the first time. So his first plate appearance, 27 home runs, 99 RBIs, played almost every day last year.
And he could provide dangerous bat from this side of the plate as a pinch hitter. You know, he's got power.
Right, and I mean, just little things that were, you know, if he had a good month and showed you that he could help you in postseason because he was on the disabled list the whole time, they could put him on the roster. But probably that's asking a little too much. Is talking with some of the people who are watching in batting practice, they're saying he's a little rusty.
37 at bats in the minor leagues this year. Couple of home runs, hit around 200. 0-2 pitch. Seeing a steady diet of breaking balls in his return. 2-2.
Just the mere fact of a home run hitter coming off the bench does put a little fear in some pitchers, and the walk is as good a hit.
Two. Swing and a miss by Gloss. Cardinals add to the lead. It's 9-3. Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by AT. Switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. And brought to you by Taco Bell's new Volcano menu. It's seriously spicy. Day baseball tomorrow will come your way at 12:30. The Cardinals and the Milwaukee Brewers. John Smoltz getting that start. Then we head to Pittsburgh. Jason Mott, 59th appearance, and the Cardinals have a lead of 9-3, and Mott will get part of this lineup for Milwaukee here to start the 7th. First pitch to Ryan Braun at 96 and a strike. Jason needs some good outings before postseason play gets here.
Right, and I think that, you get Carpenter through 6 innings. He's in line for this victory. Just wasn't quite as sharp, and if you could save an inning or 2 here, I think it'd be better off because he's had that layoff for 2 years. It's like a lot of minor leaguers, when they come up for the first time, they've never pitched in September, and it's a different experience. They're used to shutting it down for the off season about this time, and that extra month takes a toll.
Is Jason Mott not wearing his glasses tonight?
Trying to scare the hitters. No goggles.
Going to the count. Doesn't get the call at 99 on the outside corner. But basically, that hasn't been called a strike all night long. First day of the regular season. Jason Mott was your closer. There's the breaking ball that time. And Jack Wilson had a crushing base hit against the Cardinals on opening day. And now those duties have been turned over to Ryan Franklin.
If you think about it, power pitchers really, it takes them a few weeks even into the regular season before they get their velocity.
That one at 99. For in-depth Cardinals coverage and all-star coverage all season long at Game Day Magazine. It's the official team magazine of the Cardinals to order. Call this number 314-345-9000 or visit STLCardinals.com/publications. The picture that they have on the cover of this month's edition of the Game Day Magazine doesn't even look real, but it's a shot with the stealth bomber going over Busch Stadium. Almost looks like it's drawn in there. It's just an amazing shot with all the folks that were on the field for the pregame ceremonies, and we hope you pick it up. And Cardinals Game Day Magazine.
Opening day, Mott was throwing 91, 92. A little different than 99.
Fielder shoots this one into left center field. That's well hit, and one hops off the wall, so that'll be an extra base hit for Prince Fielder. Into second base with a one-out double.
That was 93, so becomes a little more hittable when it's in the low to mid 90s. At 90, 98, 99, you're going to face a guy one time. That's tough to catch up to.
Gary Decker, who never misses a Cardinal game on Fox Sports Midwest, celebrating his 67th birthday at his home at the Lake of the Ozarks. Happy birthday to Gary. Watching tonight. One out and a runner at second base. Here's Casey McGee. McGee with a little fly ball into right center. Backing up to make the catch. Colby Rasmus, fielder, stays put at second. And there's 2 outs. So Mott has 2 outs recorded here in the top of the 7th. And it brings in Mike Cameron. Cameron tonight with an RBI single back in the 3rd. 1 for 3. been announced. The Cardinals will open next season exhibition play, at least right before opening day, in Minnesota. Brand new Target Field. Put up that ballpark with a couple of games against the Twins.
I think we'll all be excited about that. And as well as we'll all be excited about seeing John Smoltz against Manny Parra. Remember, he can be a handful.
Here's the 0-1 to Cameron.
This time we saw Parra, he came up from the minor leagues and gave the Cardinals all they wanted, all they could handle.
It's been an up and down season for Manny Parra, been an up and down season for this pitching staff for Milwaukee.
Had the shakeup, sending J.J. Hardy down, Billy Hall.
Strikeout from Mott 2 in the inning. Time to stretch here at Busch Stadium. The St. Louis Cardinals and Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services and Fox Sports Midwest have joined together to encourage young people not to smoke, because once you start, it's hard to stop. Strike out tobacco so we can all breathe easier. Call the Missouri Tobacco Quit line at 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
Olga had her family, Austin, Lauren, Matt Miller from Hastings, Minnesota, also along with Kendra and King Phoenix. We're celebrating their 9th anniversary. Big Cardinal fans from Minnesota.
The Marlins' two star sluggers had heated words. Confrontation in the clubhouse on Wednesday over Hanley Ramirez injury. There's Dan Uggla and Hanley Ramirez, and Florida's still in the conversation right now. Postseason play. Mitch Stetter, second lefty the Cardinals have seen tonight. This guy drops down. He can really be tough on the left-handed hitters as he works from the first base side of the rubber.
A little different when he dropped down from Laredo, and tall, lanky guy to begin with. So to a left-handed batter like Schumacher, looks like he's throwing the ball, releasing it behind their back.
Three and 0, nobody out. We're just underway here in the bottom of the 7th. Ball 4. It's Brad Penny who picked up the win over the Phillies in his Giants debut tonight. He was struggling. Last handful of starts. Brewers fan right there is not enjoying the scoreboard tonight. But it looks like he's been enjoying many things.
St. Louis's finest.
Runner at first, and this is Ryan Ludwig. Ludwig hitting .264 and coming off the bench. I was talking with Ryan before the game about his stance. I said, when did this all start for you? A little rocking back and forth. He says, I have no idea. He said, but I have been changing my stance ever since I can remember picking up a bat. I said, it doesn't really seem that way, and I don't know if you picked up on it, but he said there's just slight things that he will do. He said he's not one of those guys that will keep the same stance for an entire year, but he goes for comfort. He said sometimes I can't even tell you what I'm doing, but I know I'll go back in video and I'll look and something's different. It works. I'm keeping it.
Sometimes he bends over more at the waist. I would think trying to find something to make it comfortable as his playing time has been diminished.
I would think, though, if you got into postseason plays, he's one of the guys that's playing every day.
I would hope so.
Here's a 3-1 pitch to Ludwig. He rips it down that third base line into the corner. Schumacher on his way to third. He will come in and try to score. No throw. Count them 10 runs tonight for the Cardinals. Ludwig off the bench makes it 10-3.
Good to see Ludwig just get a ball and put a charge into it down in the corner. You don't want to run up the score, but you also don't want to send a message that to lay down either to your team.
Ludwig, good example there of how when he does rock back and forth, he does try to get very quiet. The pitch is coming, meaning not to be as pronounced going back and forth, and the hands are trying to be as quiet as they can.
Spazio, the pitching coach, out to talk. The first base open. You got a right-hander, DeFelice, warming up. And you wonder if he's just going to give him that great advice. Don't give him anything to hit, but don't walk him either. Or we don't mind walking him, but we just don't want it to, in a 10-3 score, don't want to make it a deliberate free pass. Albert 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, giving him 113. Don't know what Ryan Howard did today, but he could have passed Howard for second place in the RBI department. See if he's pitching in front of the rubber. Right? Oh, he's not even on it. As it looks like there's space in between, and now it even gets even more in front of the rubber.
Yeah, that heel is not on the rubber.
No. And then he took a little step before he started making further separation.
That's one of the things that the Cardinals and all the baseball, when they watch a game like this and you see it, you take note of that and you make sure that people know the slicing power. Catalanato has been busy and right. 2 balls and 1 strike on Albert Pujols. That's according to the scoreboard here at Busch Stadium. Our box, 1 ball, 1 strike.
You have to have contact with some portion he's trying to sell, but you see he keeps on moving and he's further away from it. That would be from the extreme first base side of the pitcher's rubber. He never is in contact, and then he takes that little side step and there's even more separation.
2-2 is pulled to the left side. I would assume that Mitch Stetter comes into a game and he never worries about where he needs to plant his foot, because no one is throwing from that side that far towards first base.
I think you are correct.
Here's Matt Holliday, another RBI tonight, 90 on the season, 20 home runs, and he's hitting .311. Couple of base hits tonight for Matt. Single and also a double. The single was an RBI single.
Now they will potentially pass Holiday. Face Albert, but will walk Holiday to bring up Ankiel. Makes a little more sense. Sometimes in a 10-3 game, you kind of say, well, let's see if he can get a right-hander out, like he just did in Pujols. So you still want to be a manager, huh, Dan?
Cardinal fans, when it comes to tickets, you know what, Al, you deserve Major League service. So go online to StubHub. It's the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the St. Louis Cardinals, and the only side with Fan Protect guarantee. You don't want to know what I think. 10-3 and an intentional walk to Holiday, so lefty-lefty matchup. And Ricky Ankiel has had a productive night. A couple of walks, a couple of base hits.
Came in to face the left-hand hitting Schumacher, and he promptly walked him.
Atlanta's come back against the Marlins at 7-7 in the bottom of the ninth. Yankees hold on for a win against Baltimore 10-2. Los Angeles and Arizona scoreless in the bottom of the third. Top of the eighth, 2-2 at the Mets and Rockies. You go up there and you're Ricky Ankiel, you know you have to hang in there against Stetter, but it's so much easier said than done. Pitch that is either starting away or in at you or coming at you, and then finishing on the outside portion of the plate. He's also stepping at the hitter. See his landing area. We can see it from up here. He's landing right at the left-handed hitters.
Sure. I mean, so he releases the ball completely behind their back. By the time he gets out there, he's tall and lanky. He just slings the ball up there, and
it's popped up. Kendall gives it a look and out of play.
53, 54 feet away from home plate. He releases it. Really have to concentrate on that release point with so many moving parts.
A 2-2. And Keel hangs in there. Pitch it into right. And a sliding catch made by Catalanato. Takes a hit and RBI away from Ricky Ankiel with a fine play in right field.
He's been running hard all the time. He finally caught up with one and does make a nice sliding catch. Pops back up. And we're going to make a pitching change here, Dan.
So with 2 outs and 2 on, Ken Maka will go to his bullpen. That's it for Stetter with DeRosa coming up. Cardinals with a run here in the 7th, and they lead it 10-3. Sensational beginning of the season for the Milwaukee Brewers. Primarily he throws a cutter after cutter after cutter.
He's the third oldest rookie to make their major league debut in Brewers franchise history, twice released.
2 outs and 2 on for Mark DeRosa. High fly ball out to right field. Cardinals will strand 2. DeFelice 1 pitch, and it sends us to the 8th. It's 10-3 St. Louis. Leading the Brewers by the score of 10-3. Top of the 8th. And Chris Carpenter in line for another victory here tonight. And for Carpenter it would be victory number 15. He would go to 15-3, and Dave Bush was roughed up in this game. Cardinals with 6 runs in the second inning. They had 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th. 16 hits tonight, and they lead this ball game by the score of 10-3. Ludwig is in right field, and Rick Ankiel is in center, and Mott is in his second inning of work.
With the day game tomorrow, would you think about a successful inning here, allow him to pitch 3 innings and pick up a save that way?
That's a good point, and Cardinals with a 7-run lead just might do that. Here's Kendall, who was grounded out, flied out, and also struck out looking back in the second.
Curtis Lee, Molina went out there to give the umpire a little time to recover from a foul tip. And now he says, I'm ready. So, see, let's go back to it. See this foul right in their mask. Almost got underneath him. They popped him in the chin a little bit.
And that's taken for a ball outside. Update in the Rockies game. They now lead it 4-2 over the Mets.
Scoreboard here at the ballpark's a little bit behind and shows Giambi hitting with the bases loaded, so you wonder if he did something. And it was 2-2, so we understand he hit a single.
Hardy 1 for 3 with a single back in the second inning. It's popped foul and out of play. Jody Garrett is on deck.
Oh, they may not get 2 plate appearances, but something to pay attention to tomorrow. But Matt Holliday is 2 hits away from 1,000.
Jason Mott with 19 pitches so far. One and two the count. Here's Julio Lugo on the right. Many times with a lefty since Lugo has been acquired, he's been in the starting lineup.
Would you like to see him sitting there asking questions to Tony? Talking about game strategy.
One-two pitch. And there's a strikeout. So Mott has struck out 3 so far. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Jody Garrett is hitting .214.
Carlos Villanueva looks like he will be the next Brewers pitcher. Garrett came over from San Diego in exchange for Tony Gwynn Jr.
Three balls, no strikes with 2 outs.
You're right about Mott just needing an outing like this, kind of blow it out a little bit, stay out there for a while. Didn't need the walk.
Here's Felipe Lopez. Lopez struck out in the first, grounded out in the second. He walked in the fourth and struck out in the sixth. Fielder's indifference as Garrett takes the bag at second. And a right-hander getting loose in the bullpen for the Milwaukee Brewers.
And now Dennis Reyes getting up. Cardinal bullpen.
$40,214. So another crowd of over 40,000 tonight. Garrett, the runner at second base with 2 outs. Good block by Yachty, 1 and 2.
Well, Dan, we've had a lot of really well-pitched games lately, and we've had this kind of game. I'll take the well-pitched ones.
Two and two. This will be pitch number 33 from Mott, right down the middle, and a strikeout. So good work by Mott in his 2 innings. Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light Lime, the drinkability of Bud Light with a refreshing taste of lime. And by Bank of America, Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. Famous spot, Blueberry Hill. The 1944 season in which they faced each other in the World Series. Browns manager Luke Sewell and Cardinals manager Billy Southworth shared an apartment. It's a baseball fun fact in this 10-3 Cardinal lead. Foul back by Molina. So the managers shared an apartment.
Well, it's not uncommon.
So Billy Southworth and Bobby Sewell back in the 44
right
World Series. Browns and Cardinals.
You just normally hope that the one team is out of town when the other team is at home, but in the case of a World Series,
knew that, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
As Yachty hits it down the right field line again and out of play.
Has to deliver their paper.
What was your first year in the league, Al?
1970.
You were drafted in 67, 68?
69.
Oh, so it only took you a year, huh? A fly ball into right. So our Hardy's prime cut is Skip Schumacher. And a good piece of hitting there, and that's just one of his 4 tonight. 4 hits tonight for Skip.
And also he walked So he's been on base all 5 times. He's scored a couple runs. And he's got a couple RBIs.
It's the first time that the leadoff hitter did not reach for the Cardinals.
Time gets lost in a game like this, doesn't it? It looks like Mott will only go the 7th and 8th innings and strikes out 5 in his 2 shutout innings, as Denny's Reyes will start tonight.
Three and 1 the count with 1 out. Cardinals batted around in the 2nd. They had 6 runs. They had 2 in the 4th. 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th. It's added up to 16 hits tonight and 10 runs. 3-1 pitch. Taken low.
Third time Brendan Ryan's been on base. We have a 2-10 ERA at 6. And Khalil Green will pinch it.
Albert Pujols, by the way, as Khalil Green will be the pinch hitter, is now 9 for 13 with 29 RBIs when hitting with the bases loaded, as he did that earlier tonight. Just remarkable. One out and a runner at first, and they'll play behind Brendan Ryan, and here comes a 1-0 pitch to Khalil.
Cardinals trying to reduce their magic number to 20. Correct? It was 21.
Slowly hit to second. Out there on to first, and a double play. 4-6-3, and that sends us to the 9th. 10-3 St. Louis. Denny's Reyes coming in.
after the game. For now, we send it back to Dan and Al. Guys.
Okay, Jim, thanks. Looking forward to it. Ken Maka having some words with their home plate umpire, going over his lineup card. And Dennis Reyes is into the ballgame. Jason LaRue is your new catcher, and Yadier Molina moves from catcher to first.
Dennis Reyes comes in here 0-2, 16 holds, ERA 3 3/4. We'll see how many he faces. He's got pinch hit for Catalanato. We'll see about that. Then you got Braun Fielder. Yeah, here's Escobar, I believe. Or is it?
This is Mike Rivera.
Rivera, okay, the backup catcher. Escobar's 21. I saw the one. And Brad Thompson is warming up.
Seven-run lead, and what do you think the mindset is for Tony to have Thompson getting loose in the bullpen? I guess it would be if can't get through Fielder, and the chance would be that McGee would come up and maybe he would go with the righty-righty matchup in that regard.
We can only assume. In Tony's mind, he just wouldn't be able to sleep if he didn't manage this right to the final out.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Just missed on the inside corner, and it's 2-2. Rockies now have added another run. It's 5-2 in that ball game now in the 9th inning.
Diamondbacks have taken a 2-0 lead over LA out in Los Angeles. They're batting with the bases loaded and 2 outs.
Swing and a miss, and Rivera strikes out to start the 9th. First pitch popped foul and back off the bat of Ryan Braun. So LaRue, as we mentioned before, your new catcher, and Molina down at first.
Molina using Albert Pujols' Gold Glove. Rawlings' Gold Glove. First base glove. He's allowed to do that because he's a Gold Glove recipient, only at catcher position.
One and two the count on Braun. Next pitch to him in the dirt, 2-2. Braun hammers this one into deep right center field, and one hops over the wall. So a ground rule double. pitch. That's up, and Ryan Braun made no mistake with it.
Yeah, up, out of the plate, and he put a level swing on it, hitting the line drive and bouncing on the wall for the ground rule double.
And Reyes will face Prince Fielder. McGee on deck.
He, with all those RBIs this series, you know, you've got to be careful with him. So you can see Thompson really heating up now.
Oh, 1 pitch. Fielder to the second baseman Schumacher to Molino, but first 2 outs. And we'll turn to tonight's player of the game. And that's Skip Schumacher, our Budweiser player of the game, as he goes 4 for 4, 4 singles, couple of runs, and 2 RBIs. Ground ball, this should do it. The Cardinals will go for a sweep tomorrow afternoon. 10-3 our final tonight. Redbirds pick up the win. Carpenter gets another win. And they'll look for the sweep tomorrow. Post-game show coming up.